Welcome back, Arbor League. Mewtwo is a strong pick for Master League, as you all know. It has hard-hitting charge moves that it gets to extremely quickly and doesn't really have a hard answer if you don't have access to easy XL candy. However, this Pokemon is cheap and easy to build and worked well for me. So like and subscribe and turn notifications on, and let's take a look at level 50 Best Buddy Greninja in the Master League. Hopping over to PV Poke here, we're going to take a look at the standings for Master League. First, we have Greninja, which is a water dark type. So let's just take a look at some of these Pokemon. It's a lot of dragons in Master League, right? But we do have Landorus, Therian, and Groudon here, which are ground types that take super effective to water. We also have Giratina Altered here and Giratina Origin, which takes super effective from dark type because of that part ghost typing. And we've got Solgaleo, same typing as Metagross, which is part psychic, that also takes super effective to dark. And we've got Mewtwo and Ho-Oh taking super effective to dark and water respectively. So we'll just hop back up here and see what ranking we have for Greninja. It is sitting at 140 here with a score of 70.5. For key wins, we have Excadrill, Ho-Oh, Mewtwo, Swampert, Giratina, as expected. Then for the key losses, we have the dragons, right? Dialga, Lugia's got Dragon Tail, Kyogre, bulkier water-type Dragonite, and Landorus Therian here, which this match could go either way. Like I said, PV Poke doesn't account for all the human error or 5-head plays. But Landorus Therian here does take super effective from water. So scrolling down here, just see what the performance is. Greninja is very high attack weighted, as it does have 199.9, almost 200. But we're going to take a look at the highest attack stats for Master League in a second here. Very spammy here move set. We have Water Shoryuken combined with Hydro Cannon and Night Slash. That is the preferred move set, as it did receive the new Community Day move last year. And so not a lot of bug, electric. I would not say very many grass. Maybe Zarude in the Master League, but more fairy and fighting. You've seen a couple more Shadow Machamps. But resistances, we got Psychic, that Mewtwo, it resists water. So like the Kyogre does resist the waterfalls, but Greninja is kind of glassy as well. So the is a glass cannon. It resists steel, but not those dragon breaths. Ice, Ghost, again that Giratina, the Ho-Oh with the Incinerates, and it does resist like dark pulses here, with obviously being dark resisting itself, but not those power whips. We do take super effective from grass. So for suggested teammates, it is suggesting part dragons here, maybe Solgaleo. So I don't have a Solgaleo right now, a lot of access to XL candy, so we are going to go with the same typing and Metagross. And another Pokemon that I like, similar Pokemon, we're going to go with Gyarados here, just because it does do neutral damage to Dialga and some of the other dragons resisting Ho-Oh moves. Not Brave Bird though, but resisting Kyogre moves. And it does relatively well up against some other fairies that don't have very fast moves either. And we do have a charge move cost of only 10,000 dust. So again, if you're on a budget, this does have significantly less amount of Stardust cost. As it is a starter, typically they cost 10,000 Stardust to build. So we're going to clear Greninja here and come back up to the sort by category over here. And we'll scroll down to the attack stat, because we want to see the highest attack stats for Master League. And obviously, per usual, we've got the attack Deoxys, most likely in the lead here. Then we've got Xurkitree, Kartana, Pheromosa, Hoopa, and Mewtwo. Yeah, Mewtwo Shadow, Mewtwo. So yeah, Mewtwo has the, I would say that is the most easily accessible Pokemon that people have the most of, or most people have, is the Mewtwo. Its attack is 264, so quite a lot higher than Greninja, but being able to resist those Psy Strikes and Shadow Balls really helps that match. Now we're going to take a look at Greninja versus the Master League as a whole. So again, Greninja, we have a low battle rating of 388. only wins 10 but loses to 28. It's a good thing that the Master League is a condensed meta anyway, so we don't have to worry about covering too much. So from worst to best here, we do have the Charmers, obviously, because it is a dark type. So it does get charmed down relatively easily. Also, Palkia resisting the Water Shurikens and the Hydro Cannons. You know, we can't shield the fast moves Dragon Breath. So anything with Dragon Breath, right? We've got Palkia, Dialga. Zarude being a grass type, it loses to Dialga, Rayquaza, Melmetal, Xerneas, Zacian. Now, Xerneas and Zacian, Geomancy doesn't do too much. It does charge relatively quickly. It does have access to Moonblast and Close Combat, which is super effective against Greninja's Dark type. But we outpaced Xerneas in that match, so we need shield advantage for that one. But Zacian is kind of scary. I know we resist the Snarls, but Close Combat, Wild Charge, and Play Rough. Like, that's all bad news for Greninja. So again, we've got losses to all the dragons. Even the Yveltal matchup, he resisted Dark Pulses, but Greninja's a lot glassier, and Yveltal is a bit bulky. And it's got access to Focus Blast, which one-shots about 10 Greninjas. And up against Lugia here, it is a Psychic type, but because of that Dragon Tail Sky Attack, it's just spammy and all neutral damage, very glassy. So again, Greninja can get some Night Slashes off, but Lugia outbulks it in that category. And again, with Gyarados, if it's on Waterfall, if it's on Dragon Breath, it's probably a losing match. Again, we would need shields for it, as we do resist the Aqua Tail and Crunch, but we cannot shield the fast move. So by the stats here, like these all are in the ones, right? So it looks bad on paper, but then when you go here, you have a lot of losing matchup against what PvPoke said that you should win against. So it's not like the be-all, end-all of stats here. So we can even go up here to the 2 shields, for example, and just see the battle rating does change to 523. So then we start winning a few more things in the 2s here. So again, first battle rating 918. We beat Mewtwo fair and square with Psy Strike and Focus Blast. So yeah, as long as you shield that Focus Blast, you're in a really comfortable position. Mamoswine being that ground, Excadrill being that ground. With shield advantage, we beat Zacian, right? With Close Combat, Wild Charge, that both would one-shot like a whole colony of Greninjas, right? Swampert, Groudon, all the grounds we beat. Garchomp we beat. The Hydro Cannon is pretty hard-hitting. But if they're on Dragon Tail, right, Mudshot doesn't do very much damage, but if they're on Dragon Tail, that might be a different outcome with Dragon Tail and Sandtomb lowering our defense. But Ho-Oh we beat with Brave Bird. They have to lower their defense. Might have to shield an Earthquake, but I'm not seeing too many Ho-Ohs run an Earthquake, right? It's more Sacred Fire over that. Metagross, we resist the Bullet Punches, right? Xerneas doesn't do too much damage, and I'm not sure if it's going to be in this set or another day that I have beaten Xerneas in the 2 shields before. It was pretty impressive. Giratina, again, with that Ghost type on the Dark type, right? All the ground types. And with shield advantage, we still beat Yveltal. So we out-spam it with the Hydro Cannons to the Focus Blast, because they have to land that Focus Blast. Dark Pulse is not going to be enough, as we resist our own typing. Again, Ursaluna doesn't have a very good fast attack. Solgaleo stuck with Fire Spin, Psychic Fangs, Iron Head. We resist all of that. So off to a really good start in the 2s. So you can see it's all depending on shield scenario, energy management, when a Pokemon swaps in, all that kind of stuff. So as long as your team is consistent, you're not going to do too bad. So coming over here to the team builder, we are going to see the rating of the team that I have designed. It's going to be another one of my Metagross Gyarados cores. It's what I got. Metagross Gyarados is a very strong core. It can beat a lot of things. So Galeo, but as long as you've got water typing and alignment in the back or ground typing, you shouldn't be too bad. We'll go with the Greninja here. Green Ninja. My goodness, I can't speak today. We go down to Great Team. And for our rating, we have CBCA. So yes, bulk, yeah, not very good, but we do have Metagross, Gyarados, Core. The safety and the coverage do go down as they are ABB teams, but A for consistency. Scrolling down to the meta scorecard again, we don't want to see 3 circles, right? But Zygarde might be a little bit difficult for us. Gyarados with Dragon Tail can handle it. So did I even put... Okay, put Dragon Breath. So Dragon Breath probably a little better just because you can sneak in fast moves a lot quicker than Dragon Tail. But you get to charge moves quicker with the Dragon Tail, I think. Landorus, Therian... Yeah, Dragonite, Giratina circles across the board, even altered, as we take super effective from the Shadow Claws on Metagross, but we have 2 responses for it in the back. Again, we beat Mewtwo all the way across the board in the 2s, because Metagross does not want to see a Shadow Ball, but we barely survive it. So, Xerneas, again, we're weak to Charm in the back, but we are good up against it in the front. Now this Dialga Origin, again, could go either way because we do resist the Dragon Breath and the Iron Head and the Roar of Time. And we can lose to it in the back, so we sort of have to deal with the Dialgas up in the front, like the steals on the steals. We can also handle it shields down with Greninja in the back if we have to. Steel does take neutral from water, and Dialga takes neutral from Night Slash. Again, Kyogre, again, might be a little bit of a problem, but we do have that Dragon Tail or Breath coverage on Gyarados, so that's not too bad of a matchup. We do resist the Surfs on Greninja, so we might either get a swap or able to get some chip damage off with the Night Slashes. Again, the Gyarados matches could go either way depending on Waterfall, Dragon Breath, Dragon Tail, and Zarude. We kind of lose all the way across the board, but I haven't seen too many. We can deal with it because at least we resist the Vine Whips and at least we resist the grass type moves coming from Zarude on the Metagross, but the Dark Pulses hurt. One doesn't KO, but the other moves that we have are not enough damage to cause any threats to Zarude. Maybe the Dragon Tails, but we've got Aqua Tail, Crunch, right? So the only way that we can threaten Zarude is maybe grab a shield with a Meteor Mash and take care of it on Gyarados, at least where the grass is neutral. Other than that, again, losing to Dialga in the back, taking care of it in the front. And we've got some battles for you today. We have a 5-0 coming your way. All 3 Pokemon are hundoed and best buddied. Hopping into the first match, we see a Kyogre on the lead. So it's not great for us, but we can handle it with our other waters in the back. So my plan is to count to 5 waterfalls and catch a Surf on Greninja and hopefully line it up with Gyarados. Now Greninja is still not the tankiest, so the Surf still kind of hurts Greninja. But on the bright side, we are pretty spammy, so we're able to get to these back-to-back Night Slashes and throw. So they made it to another Surf, but Greninja will hope for the boost on this first one. Still chipping away, no boost. So we will have to shield this up because we don't want to get farmed down afterwards. I think I can make another couple. So we throw the next Night Slash once we get the back-to-back. Night Slash coming through. We're still not getting the boost on Greninja, but Kyogre does decide to shield up one of these, and we get to Night Slash number 3. But Kyogre is out of move. We're almost at Night Slash number 4, chipping away at Kyogre, still not getting the boost, and they throw. So I'm okay with going in the 1-to-1s here. We can let this go down and confidently come in and farm all the way down with Gyarados. The Kyogre is dry, so we will come out with a massive amount of energy here. Good thing for us because a Giratina decides to come in, and we've got a super effective Crunch for the Ghost. So Gyarados is totally okay staying here as we get the defense drop as well. Not totally threatened by these Shadow Claws, but Giratina does have access to Ancient Power, which they do decide to throw. But Gyarados able to tank that, and we're able to get to the next Crunch. But I'm going to bait with the Aqua Tail because even if it lands, we can chip away and farm down. But the Giratina decides to shield, and we catch the Claw on Metagross. They reveal that they don't have Shadow Sneak, so it's just going to be a ding, and the opponent comes in with their own best buddied Shadow Metagross, but shields down. Metagross almost taken out the mirror with the Earthquake. 2 more bullet punches do, and they have no energy on Giratina, so the opponent decides to concede the match. Hopping into the next one here, we're on a pretty good roll into a Latios. So we've core broken them already as it's terrible, and they recede into Garchomp. Now this is not great for us because it would be better with Mudshot, but You're just going to be throwing the Sand Tombs here, lowering your defense so that these Dragon Tails will add up. You don't want to shield those Sand Tombs. But we're going to bait with an Aqua Tail here because this could be the crunch. We could get the defense drop, and the water is still neutral to Garchomp's ground type. And we get to number 2 before we're getting debuffed again. So this Aqua Tail still won't KO Garchomp, but one more Dragon Tail will. The question is, do we decide to live the next Sand Tomb? Yes, we do, and we take Switch. So we've taken Shield advantage and Switch advantage, and it's a good thing that we did because there's a Melmetal. So because we can come in with Greninja here and throw these neutral Hydro Cannons. Now we will be hopping into the next match, we are going to see a Latios lead. So already we've core broken the opponent with Greninja and Metagross. The Psychic Dragon wants nothing to do with their Psychic Steel, so they swap to Garchomp, and we respond with Gyarados. And this would be a little bit more positive of matchup if they had Mudshot, but they are debuffing us with the Sand Tombs, so now their Dragon Tails are doing more than ours. So I will bait with the Aqua Tail, as water still does neutral damage onto Garchomp, but it will not quite KO, so we will see a shield. We do outpace them to the next one, so this will be getting the Garchomp pretty low, but it doesn't quite KO. But we sneak a Dragon Tail through, and we're able to take Switch. Question is, do we survive the Sand Tomb? Yes, we do, and we do not have to commit a shield. Melmetal comes in to farm us down, but that's all right, because we've just got a Latios, which both of our Pokemon can take care of. So I will come in here with Greninja just to chip away with some neutral damage. And I know since we wall this with both teams, we're going to make a little bit of weird play here. Going to try to catch a superpower, but the opponent holds on to their energy. But that is totally okay with me because this Latios has absolutely nowhere to go. All it has, I think, is Dragon Claw, Luster Purge. Nothing can hurt us, so they no-shield the Meteor Mash, and they get to a move. I'm just going to let this go because it's most likely the Dragon Claw. So again, we just get a ding, and we're able to fully farm down the Latios with an Earthquake. So now we're able to threaten the Melmetal. So I'm going to bait, and we can out-spam it with Greninja if we have to. The Melmetal, no, shields it. Very ballsy. But we're able to shield up this next superpower, but they actually go Thunderbolt. So even if we get this Meteor Mash off here, I'm just going to let this go because even a superpower doesn't KO. Melmetal goes Thunderbolt, and we're able to swap into Greninja, and we've got 2 charge moves ready to go. So I'm just going to shield this up. Even if it is the superpower, they debuff themselves, and we can just throw these 2 Night Slashes, 1 for the shield and 1 to KO. So Greninja here, despite being weak to Melmetal in the back, I know kind of, spicy to see a Latios lead, but either way, Greninja getting the KO and taking this game. Hopping into our next match, we are going to see a Groudon lead. So again, Gyarados is our hard counter to this, so we can either catch a Fire Punch or swap right away with Greninja. So because we outpace to the Hydro Cannon versus the Precipice Blades, we see a shield from Groudon. Now, Hydro Cannon doesn't quite KO with Groudon, but they retreat with a massive amount of energy, but have left us with a massive amount of energy. So here, this would usually be a negative matchup for Greninja against a Fairy, but that Hydro Cannon chunks away, right? And because we have shield advantage, we can shield this one Moonblast up, outpace them to 2 more Hydro Cannons, and either get a shield or a KO here. Greninja opting to go for the Hydro Cannon, getting a shield from the Deer, and we're able to get to Hydro Cannon number 3, and if not KOing, this will be getting Xerneas extremely low. Greninja able to take care of the Deer despite the weakness, overcoming disadvantage there. So we're able to get off a Night Slash versus whatever comes in, even just for some chip damage. It is the Dialga, and we've got the alignment that we need, so we can get the Dragon Breather on the Steel and Gyarados that we have not revealed yet on the Groudon. Because they did build up a lot of energy, it will shield the potential Precipice Blades, but they bait with the Fire Punch and were able to hard counter with Groudon. So unless they had Dragon Tail and Solar Beam, which I've come across a Dragon Tail Groudon earlier today, and that's a little bit more miserable of a matchup because the Mudshots are resisted here because of Gyarados' Flyer type. As you can see, Precipice Blades does absolutely nothing. We can build up to almost 2 crunches, KO the Groudon, and still come out with a lot of energy for that Dialga. because that Dialga is still pretty healthy, but we are shieldless, so we're able to throw the Crunch over the debuff for some bunch of neutral damage. Dialga getting chipped away. We don't get the debuff, but they will have to throw, otherwise we will get to the next move. Dialga does opt to go for the Iron Head to save a little bit of energy, but it doesn't matter, and we don't even need the Earthquake in this circumstance. Metagross will be taking care of the Dialga this time for us. Hopping into the next match, up against a Togekiss, so positive lead for us. We wall this with Metagross, but they recede into Mewtwo, and we respond immediately with Greninja here. So this Mewtwo opts to go for the Psystrike, which is resisted, but the Shadow Balls are also resisted, but does way more damage. So I guess more energy efficient to go Psystrike, but Greninja resisting Night Slash does a massive amount of damage to Mewtwo as well. So this is a really positive matchup for this. This is why I chose Greninja. I was so sick of seeing Mewtwo having a lot of my teams weak to it, because I got a lot of Fighter, I got a lot of things just that don't take care of Mewtwo here, but Greninja winning clearly in the 2 shields, not getting the boost, but we're still able to get to a Hydro Cannon versus this Togekiss here. It's good to chip away at the Togekiss, because the less health that it has means the less that we have to farm it down, less of a chance for it to get to Flamethrower or Aura Sphere. Now Flamethrower does a massive amount of damage to Metagross, but because it's non-stab, it doesn't quite KO. We try to catch a Flamethrower, but we don't. We actually catch the Aura Sphere, so I was scared about catching the Ancient Power there, but we're able to farm down and still maintain 2 shields, and it's a good thing that we do, because now there's a water type in the back. So now we have to get to, I'd say, 4 Aqua Tails, maybe with some Dragon Tail damage, but the opponent actually no shields. So we can actually shield this up and farm all the way down, and maybe it was a misplay by the opponent, because this opponent was going down with 2 shields. So hopping into the next match here, we have got a Togekiss, another great lead, despite it being best buddy. They will retreat into Vaporeon. Kind of spicy. I know I've been fluctuating between the 19 and the 2100s, but there were still some pretty good plays today, and Greninja has done really well for me. Gonna bait with the Aqua Tail. The Vaporeon opts to no shield, so they could have Last Resort, but they actually go Aqua Tail back. So I'm just gonna try to farm this down, banking on that they only have water moves. So Vaporeon here could have the Last Resort. Is it this time? Yes, it is, and it does chip away, like not as much, because it is, the Last Resort. So we're able to clearly farm down the Vaporeon just with a shield here. This could be the Aqua Tail. And it is the Aqua Tail. I'm not sure if we would survive that, but we're able to shield, maintain switch, and come out with a couple neutral Aqua Tails for Togekiss. So that's kind of the idea with Gyarados. You want to throw as many Aqua Tails. There's no point in throwing 1 Dragon Breath and throw. Get as many much neutral damage off as possible, Again, then we can come in with Metagross, and we can take an Aura Sphere, but they retreat again, and we've got Greninja. So could have lined it up with the Gyarados, the hard wall there, so maybe bad team read, but we're able to get a shield with the potential Hydro Cannon there. Still no boost on Greninja. So I'm trying to call the Fire Punch bait, and it is. So Precipice Plays probably would have taken care of 1.5 Greninjas there, but we're able to hopefully shield this up correctly if they don't bait, which they do, so it might look kind of sketchy here, but we're able to get to back-to-back Hydro Cannons, hopefully 1 for the shield, and 1 to nearly KO Groudon, maybe from this range. We might. If we don't, we are able to farm down with some Bullet Punches, and hopefully they don't make a move. Groudon does get the KO, and we're able to take that game. Greninja in the Master League. As a Mewtwo counter, it is pretty decent. Very spicy to run, as it is a Glass Cannon. But with shield advantage, it can output a lot of damage and or grab shields in return. Getting that Phantom for GBL rewards. There's some more Arbor League content. Getting those XL candies. But Greninja is very cheap to build, fun to use, and perhaps an underdog, as it still handles a lot of the well-used meta. If you're enjoying the content, leave a comment and tell me what you think. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn notifications on. It really helps me out. Keeps me in the algorithm and lets you know when I post, because there will be much more Pokemon Go content to come. But that's all I've got for today, guys. Thank you again, everyone, so much for watching. I've been ArborAndy. Keep your sticks on the ice, and I'll see you buds in the next one. let's see what ranking we have for Greninja. Greninja. Now Greninja's not very bulky, so the oh my god, why so choppy?